All right. Hey, welcome back to the cabin once again. Today we're talking oil lamps, but not just any old oil lamp, the angle lamp. And before we get going deep into them, I want to show you what got this all started for me. Have you ever been just walking around an antique shop and you saw something and you just didn't know what it was and it got your attention? That was me. A friend and I were out and we were just sort of running around antique shops, and down in the basement of an antique shop, I found this thing hanging from the ceiling. And I don't think it was a lot of money, 15 or 20 bucks. But I just didn't know what it was. I was intrigued. I'm like, it looks like an oil lamp, but it's not like anything I've ever seen before. And I'm pulling out the canister and I'm trying to figure it out. And before long, I just bought it. I didn't have a clue. And then finally, when I got it home and cleaned it up a little bit, just a little bit, I'm gonna restore this one. This would have been the cheapest of the chandeliers like you see hanging here, but this would have been the poor man's chandelier. I've got some magazine ads here. This would have sold for about $1.50 in about 1900. So I got it cleaned up and realized it's what they call an angle lamp, manufactured in New York City. They started up that company in about 1880, I believe it was. Out of business not long after that, just shortly after 1900, because of the invention of electricity. So they were late players in the game. So these are not near as common as what you see here. Now, all the ones I've got laid out here are the ones I typically have hanging on over the walls. Most of those were gifts. I did buy a couple of them at flea markets or something, but most of those were in boxes in people's basements, and they just gave them to me. They wanted to see them hanging on my walls. So that's how I've got a lot of the stuff that I have. It's stuff that means a lot to someone else, but they didn't have the place for it. It belonged to a great grandparents or something, and they just wanted it to have a good home. So this place has become a refuge for those unwanted things. So anyway, back to the oil lamp. I'm going to hang this one back up for now, and I'll light this one and show you how it works. I just love these things. They're such a unique, and I have a couple magazine articles here I want to get to as well. So let me hang this one back up here out of the way. So their claim to fame is no undershadow. So as you can see, the dome is on the bottom and it drops the flame, or the light can come straight down to the surface. Now, this one that I have here that I'm going to light for you is meant to go on a wall. So this would hang on a wall. These are the ones, I have two exactly like this. These are the ones that I typically have hanging on the floor beams of the loft above, projecting light into the living room. But for this episode, I took this down and I built this little stand. Now you might notice, for you log cabin people, this is actually one of my logs that make up the walls. This was a leftover piece of log, and what I did with some of them was, it was only this long. So what I did was cut them into pieces, or excuse me, I slabbed those out for future use. But now that I've got that made, boy, doesn't that look like an end stand lamp? So I could just see that thing staying like that. So chances are I'm going to be looking for a few more to make for my end tables in the living room. That just looks perfect to me hanging there. This piece of wood would probably date to pre-United States of America. This log cabin was originally built in 1818, and I counted the rings back on these logs, and they would have predated the United States of America. So I didn't want to get rid of too much of that. It was very difficult to cut with my sawmill because of all the nails and things that had been put in that wood over the years. So anyway, let's get to lighting this baby up. So how these work is you've got your chimney, of course. Typically the chimney, like the one in the background, typically the chimney is just a glass dome, and the globe is part of the chimney. This one has a separate globe and then a chimney. Of course, both of them emit light out, but the majority of the light comes out that globe on the bottom. Now that globe folds up, and then your wick is tucked in here behind it. So as you burn, of course, the flame is here and it sucks all of its fresh air in here. With this globe being so big, they claim that it burns more efficiently, so therefore it burns less fuel, emits more light. So let's get it lit up. There we go. And then you just fold this dome, fold this globe back down, and then put on the chimney. And when you do, you'll see it suck that flame right up into the chimney. If I turn it down just till it doesn't produce any smoke. As the chimney gets warm, the vacuum gets to be more. It's exactly like the chimney for the fireplace. That big globe and that extra airspace to flow up through there creates a really good draft, which sucks in fresh air right past that wick and gets it burning good. So anyway, let's test out that No Shadow. I've got a couple magazines here. The one ad that I saw in here that was pretty cool. Now this is 1901. So this magazine is from 1901. And the ad that I find that's the most interesting in here, this is, of all of them, nothing to do with lamps, is the Columbia automobile. 40 miles on one charge of battery. I believe that when I see it. Kind of convenient for now. In 1901, they were selling electric cars, and that went by the wayside with gasoline. Anyway, this is the article that I purchased online, but it's a good thing that modern technology lets me blow it up, because there's no way I'm going to read it. Okay, it says, there's a modern method of burning oil, just as there's a modern method for doing anything else in the world. Old-fashioned things must take a back seat. The ordinary smoky-smelling, troublesome oil lamp is out of date. And in its place comes the angle lamp, which presents perfect illumination with the greatest efficiency. It is more brilliant than gas or electric, never smoke smell, nor gets out of order, is so safe and simple that a child can handle it. And it's as easy as gas, but cost only 18 cents a month. That's pretty cool. And then its claim to fame is, again, like I told you earlier, no undershadow. You could purchase the one that's in this catalog here, or this ad, which is very similar to this, but with a round dome like that. That one could be purchased for $7. And I believe the guy that I purchased this off of said this come from early 1900s, which makes sense because most of my magazines are 1889, except for this one, which is 1901, and I couldn't find any of the angle lamp ads in any of those magazines. I believe that they just come into the game late, and by that time it was really hard to sell someone lighting a fire when they could just flip a switch on the wall. So for that reason, the oil burning lamps for the everyday use kind of went away. I do love them very much, though. So, well, that's going to wrap it up for me for another week. But I want to leave you with something I learned from the good book, and that is that you are the light of the world. A lamp is not lit and put under a basket, but on a stand to give light to all in the room. For me, that stands volume. It says that we need to be a certain kind of people who do great works and let that work be seen so that other people can be like, I want to be like that. So here on this channel, I want to be that person for you. Whether it's in doing actual craft or through inspiration that I've learned from other people or from the good book itself or even from the Spirit. So anyway, take care. I will catch you again on the next episode. See you now.